Hello and welcome to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. My name is John Carissimo, and we're here today to talk about the renewal deadline. Today is September 29th, meaning tomorrow is September 30th, and there's only two real estate renewal deadlines per year. They're either March 31st or September 30th. Now, if you have a real estate license, your deadline is either March 31st or September 30th. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. It's basically every other year you have a renewal deadline, essentially. You know, one of the tricks, once you have a real estate license, once you're on even-numbered years, you're usually typically on even-numbered years as long as you don't do anything late. Same thing if you're on odd-numbered years going forward as long as you're not doing anything late. And it's always the same March, it's always the same September. But there is something because of Hurricane Idalia. Hurricane Idalia came through here and mixed some things up, and the DBPR responded with an emergency extension. So we're going to be talking about that emergency extension granted by the DBPR, whether or not you qualify for this extension. If your renewal deadline is this deadline coming up September 30th, essentially, you qualify. We'll cover the details and also point you in the right direction of the DBPR if you want to verify further on your own. But we're going to cover all that and more, as well as if you're taking your real estate exam. This is good stuff to know because we'll even cover calculating renewal deadlines, just so we could start from the bottom up of this is when you get licensed, this is when your renewal deadline should be, and this is where you find it on the DBPR website, as well as find updates such as this emergency order update that was just issued by the DBPR. So we've got an exciting show for you today. My name is John Carissimo. You're watching State of Real Estate.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Alrighty, hello and welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. My name is John Carissimo. The show is brought to you by Tampa School of Real Estate. If you want to find out anything more about starting your real estate career, getting your real estate license, you want to talk to one of our advisors about your renewal deadline, about your aspirations for getting a broker license, what additional renewal requirements you might have, even if you just got to do something as simple as continue education, we have advisors that can help you out. You either chat with us online right at tsre.us. That's tsre.us. You get right on our website, or you could call or text us at 813-333-2676. Again, that's 813-333-2676. But what we're talking about today is the renewal deadline. And as I mentioned when we opened up here today, there's two deadlines. Either I'll do this one first since it's what's coming up tomorrow, although there technically is a extension. And let's just do this here to keep things simple to start. Your renewal deadline is one of these two dates. And essentially every 2 years once you get past your first renewal licensing period. Your first renewal licensing period is anywhere from 18 months to 2 years. So don't just assume it's 2 years because you could fall closer to the 18-month mark depending on when you got your real estate license. We'll touch on that quickly of how that's calculated. That's a good thing to know for the exam, for anybody that still needs to get their exam passed and get that knocked out, so that way you can move on to this renewal step that we're talking about today. And so let's do this exercise here of if you were licensed. But let's just say you get licensed today, and then we'll work back to what the renewal deadline is for this one today. So if you got licensed today, which is September 29th of 2023, live right now broadcasting here from New Tampa, our New Tampa headquarters office right off of Bruce B. Downs and I-75. Stop in and see us anytime. So if you get licensed on this date, September 29th, 2023, the trick, and the real trick in the real world is to go to myfloridalicense.com. I've actually already got that page loaded up on our board here because I do want to show you the emergency order that extends this ultimately for this deadline that we would have coming up tomorrow. But for the fundamental and theoretical purposes, let's assume that you're getting licensed today, September 29th of 2023. And so what you do is go 2 years ahead. This is how it gets calculated out, which is going to be September 29th of 2025. But here's the catch. You can't wait the extra day because it's not 2 years in a day. It's maximum 2 years. Maybe if we hit right on September 30th, then we're maxing out that 2-year mark. Or we're getting licensed right on, let's say, October 1st, then you've got essentially 2 years. But what we've got to do now is fall back to the most recent deadline, which would be... And this is what ultimately puts you close to 18 months if this is kind of what went on when you got your license. If you got licensed close to renewal deadline, it's close to 18 months. Here's the thing. Don't worry about whether it's going to be 18 months or 24 months. Do it as soon as you get your license. That is a hack, because I didn't do that when I got started, and I wasted a ton of money spending it on the wrong things, spending my time on the wrong things, wasting a lot of time, going into deals, not really even understanding the fundamentals of what I'm doing as a real estate agent. And that's what you learn in your post-licensing course. We have that in a video-on-demand format, as well as a text-based online format, as well as live online instructors, as well as live in-person classes for that post-licensing course. So whatever method you need to get that done with, there's no school in Florida that offers more options to complete your 45-hour post-licensing requirement. So that's what's required essentially in this first window here. And this also works the same if you're a broker and you just got your broker license. So let's say you just tested for your broker exam today and you passed and you get your license issued today. This is going to be the same scenario for now the renewal of your broker license. So ultimately you get a new renewal deadline if you're getting a broker license, because technically that is a new license. Even if you are upgrading from a sales associate to a broker license, that's going to be a brand new license if you get a broker license. And so that'll have a brand new 18 to 24 month deadline calculated exactly like this. And so let's talk about when it would be if your deadline is going to be coming up for this deadline. So that's going to be basically sometime after October. We'll say October 15th of, let's see, this should be 2021. This should be right. So if this is the date that you're licensed here, and we'll actually do this, we'll kick it back to October 1st. Because really anything after October 1st is going to fall into this deadline here. And this way we can sketch it out fully of what these deadlines are. So if you get licensed October 1st, 2021. Again, the trick is we're going to go 2 years ahead. Let me see. Can I do this in a gray maybe? Make this a little less obvious here. I don't want this to stand out. Plus 2 years. So that's going to give us 10/1/23. But 10/1/23, well, that's real dark or real light. I don't know if you guys could see that as well. 10/1/23. That's because we went 2 years out. So we added 2 years to that. That gives us October 1st, 2023. But now we fall back now to the most recent deadline, which is going to be September 30th of 2023. AKA tomorrow, but like I said, there actually is an emergency order that I'm going to show you here that gives you a couple extra weeks to get this done if this is your deadline. So if you got licensed after October 1st, that day of, technically after September 30th, so this day or after, if you're October 1st, 2021, that day or after, all the way up to, and the farthest date out for this should be, and now there's leap years here, so don't quote me on this exactly, because the leap years might throw this a little bit into question, because I know we've got leap years coming up. And actually, I don't even think this factors any leap years, so this should be right. But at the end of the day, always verify what your real-world expiration date is on the DBPR, because there could always be some legal change that you're not aware of. That typically doesn't happen, but it could happen. There could always be some sort of emergency order granted like we are talking about today. So the best thing to do is to verify on your DBPR account, because when you first do your application for your Florida real estate license, you create the same exact account that you log into to when anytime you need to print out a copy of your license or get any sort of verification of your license. You log into your account to do that. To see your pending continuing education and post-licensing hours, you could see what you have on record right in your account. And we actually have a link here. I'll put this up here real quick. This shows you exactly how to find this all. So if you're like, wow, I could do this all on the state's website, how do I figure that out? How do I see a screen recording of how to do that exactly? See your hours, see your licenses, tsre.us/verify, tsre.us/verify. It's a nice little page we've got put together to verify your whatever continuing education, post-licensing, whatever hours it is that you may need. The state actually has a pretty good system that unfortunately we don't have access to on a per student basis. So the best way to actually verify this is to log into your account online, or you could also call the DBPR as well. And we've got their phone number on that same page, their tsre.us/verify. But back to our example here. So let's say you're licensed before, so this day or before of September 30th, 2022, because now when we go to do the same little calculation like we just did here, plus 2 years, that's going to give us 3/30 of 24. But we can't wait that extra day because, again, it's not 2 years in a day. So what this ends up being here for our renewal deadline is also September 30th of 2023. So essentially, if you're licensed between those dates right there, between October 1st of 2021 to March 30th of 2022, that means your expiration date was originally tomorrow by midnight. And so what that means, before we factor in the emergency order, we're going to bring that up in just a moment here to cover the exact extension deadline. We're going to get it right off the DBPR's website. I've already got it preloaded on here. But let's just assume they didn't put out that, so that way anybody watching this in the future, or if your deadline isn't this date here, you understand how this process works. So this is the last day, and you have to have this done by 11:59 tomorrow night. Technically, you got a couple more weeks now because of the extension, but if they didn't grant that extension, you'd have to get this done by tomorrow night. And the thing is if you haven't started that now, I don't know who out there that the universe or whatever it is that you believe in that is maybe, or maybe it's just luck, whatever it is, that's coming together that all of a sudden that there's this extension here. But one of you that have this deadline that was meant to get their license renewed didn't get it done yet, so fate appeared and now you have a couple extra weeks. Because if you didn't start that until today, maybe you could get this done. I mean, right now it's what is it, 36 hours that we've got left? We'll have to get a timer loaded up somewhere on here. Well, now that we've got a couple extra weeks, we'll have a new timer for this year. And if you actually did get damaged due to Hurricane Idalia, you may even be able to submit an application, a hardship application, to be able to get additional time if this extra couple weeks isn't enough, which it should be. If you're starting today and this was your renewal deadline, you have plenty of time to get this done. Especially with our text-based course, that's going to be the fastest option if you're a fast reader. If you're a fast reader, you can get through that really quickly. Faster than the video course, because the video course is going to be very similar to your class time. But the thing about the video course that's nice is if you do have a little bit of time, the longest video that we have in there is about 10, maybe 15 minutes. But I don't even think we have anyone that are about 15 minutes long. I think we cut those all down. That way they can be bite-sized. Most of the videos in there are like 5 to 8 minutes long. And we make them bite-sized like this to allow you to be able to get a couple units knocked out if you have time, or only get one knocked out if you don't. And we also have the live courses where you can get it done in as quick as 4 or 5 days, depending on how long those days are. We also have evening classes that go for a couple weeks, usually meet like twice a week, maybe 3 times a week for a few weeks. We have a bunch of different schedules available and new schedules being published if you've got a deadline, if you're just getting licensed today. So if you're more like this situation here where 2025 is going to be your deadline, we've got tons of new post-licensing options being added. And if you don't yet have your license, you might want to get your Complete Jumpstart Bundle, because the Complete Jumpstart Bundle, that is your pre-licensing, your exam prep, and your post-licensing. And then it's already paid for in advance. You get your best discount when you package that all together. We want to incentivize you if you're willing to go all in on yourself. And so you not only lock in the tuition, because tuition rates have gone up, so you lock in the tuition rate, but on top of that, you now have basically a credit on file with us to be able to take your post-licensing as soon as you can, which legally is as soon as you have your real estate license. Once you're issued your real estate license, you could legally now take the post-licensing for credit. And that's where you're learning a lot of information that's real-world information. I could flip through this little book that we've got here. This is essentially the companion to any of our instructor-led programs, the classroom, the video online, as well as the live online courses. They all follow the order and curriculum of this textbook right here, so that makes it really consistent. Just in case, let's say, maybe even you started off in a classroom course and you didn't have time to get it finished, and you called our office and got transferred into the video online. There's a lot of different options we have available, being that we have 4 different options to complete post-licensing. So we're pretty much the most flexible, adaptable real estate school out there when it comes to completing your post-licensing requirement. But if I pull up this table of contents here, we've got 14 different units in this post-licensing course. And you do have a couple little ones in there that are not the most exciting, but things you should know, like some legal updates, risk management, a couple of fair housing, real-world examples, a little bit more real-world than it would have been in your pre-licensing course, just to make sure you don't find yourself in an issue with fair housing. But that's 2 units between the legal updates and the fair housing. Now, the rest of the stuff we're looking at: business planning and time management, prospecting for listings, pricing properties to sell, making listing presentations, listing contracts. Not just contracts in general, like, oh, they have to be in writing and signed, but specifically listing contracts. A chapter on working with buyers, sales contracts, option contracts, writing and presenting offers, mortgage alternatives, applying for financing for property, closing transactions, and analyzing and investing, managing investment properties. So a lot of real world stuff in there, which is stuff that when you first get your real estate license that you're probably hoping that you're learning. But the sad truth is the Florida Real Estate Commission doesn't care whether or not you know how to make money with your real estate license. They care in your pre-licensing about the laws and rules. And that's why the exam prep that comes in the Complete Jumpstart Bundle. I mean, the Complete Jumpstart Bundle, for all the education, training, textbooks, knowledge, information it is that you're getting, it's really the best deal and the best way to jumpstart your real estate career. So you can do that with any of our pre-licensing courses, and we even have it as a standalone as well. If you've already done a pre-licensing, you just want the exam prep and the post-licensing, we have some bundle options for those together as well. Give us a call. This is the phone number. If you have any questions, you need anything customized or a custom type of package, depending on what you've already done. Maybe you're wanting to audit a class as well. We typically don't recommend that, but if, let's say, you had a bad class, maybe you started off with another school or some sort of online program or anything like that, and you just want to take the class over from the beginning, you could do that with us as well. So a lot of different options. And when you call into us, you're not just speaking to just random nobodies. Our advisors are going to be people that have real estate licenses, instructor licenses, as well as even broker licenses. We've got people even with broker licenses on our team here. So you could reach out to us, 813-333-2676. And again, you could find your specific license at tsre.us/verify, how to take your specific license and look that up, your record essentially on the DBPR. So this video that we've got right here, very, very effective because it shows you exactly where to click on the screen. So you could figure it out, but why waste the time trying to click around and getting lost and getting frustrated when you could literally see exactly go here, go here, go here, go here. Here's what you need to see. So that makes it super easy there. And if you've got this deadline coming up here, like I said, there was an extension that was granted due to Hurricane Idalia. If you're just tuning in today, we're talking about the real estate renewal deadline, and whether you have to get post-licensing or this is a continuing education deadline here, because this is really just for post-licensing, what we've been talking about, this initial period. So let's simplify this down here. We'll go on a blank screen. When you get started, $63 FREC hours to get the license. 45 FREC hours for your first renewal. And then 14 FREC hours every 2 years after. So for your sales associate license, this is your initial starting license. When you first get your real estate license, you're getting a sales associate license. That's initially a 63-hour course that gets you your license. Again, we have the optional Pass First Try exam prep bundle available, which includes that workbook right there. Then we have, after you get your license, the 45-hour post-licensing. That's for your first renewal. And just like that example we were just going through on this previous screen here, if this is when you got licensed, this deadline coming up means you need to have 45 hours of post-licensing by midnight on the deadline. But again, this deadline did get pushed back. So you have a couple extra weeks. We'll go over the specifics of that in just a moment. But in case you're on a broker licensing schedule, so this could be part of the reason why you have this deadline coming up. Maybe your 45-hour, you've already did your 45-hour, your last renewal deadline, you've already done one, and your last renewal deadline was September 30th of 2021. So now what is it you have to get done by September 30th of 2023 if you already had one renewal that was on September 30th of 2021, meaning that you got your license back in like 2019, end of 2019, beginning of 2020. That means now you'd have 14 hours of continuing education coming up, unless once you've got 2 years of experience, you could decide to get a broker license, and you do have to have your 45-hour completed to be able to get to this point here. So if you have a sales associate license, you're not eligible to get a broker license until you have your 45 hours completed, even if you have 2 years experience from another state or whatever the case may be. Now, once you have 2 years of experience and you have your 45 hours of post-licensing, sales associate post-licensing completed, then you could go ahead and do your application for your broker license. You could technically enroll in your broker pre-licensing course a little bit early. So let's say you're at like a year and 11 months. You could get into your broker course and then go take that as soon as you do your application, at least as soon as you hit 2 years. Because that's the thing, you can't do your application, you can't get your application approved at least until you've got 2 years of active experience. And that just means that you've been registered with a broker for 2 years. Even if you haven't sold a single thing, as the law currently is today on September 29th of 2023, and it's been like this for some time here. But if you want to get a broker license, you just have to be active with a broker for 2 years. That's all they're requiring. Is if your license was active with the broker for 2 years, you now meet the experience requirement. So it's a pretty low bar on the experience side. It's just literally time you've got to put in. That's literally all they're asking for. Doesn't matter whether you're doing this part-time, full-time, just for referrals, as long as your license says active with a broker, not with an owner-developer. So if you do want to become a broker, make sure your license is active with a broker, not with an owner-developer. So as long as you're licensed with a broker, and this could even be out-of-state experience. This is within the last 5 years. So if you could add up 2 years of experience in the last 5 years, that also will qualify you for the broker license, even if, again, this experience is out of state. If it's out of state, you're probably going to have to provide the documentation for that to the DBPR when you do this application. So you'll probably have to make a request from whatever licensing board in whatever state it is that you previously held the license in. And this isn't a 7-hour course, it's a 72 FREC hour course. and that's to get a broker license. And again, like I said, this is going to create a new 2-year cycle. So that first 18 to 24 months, just like when you first got your sales associate license, that's where you've got to do 60 FREC hours. And that's for your first broker renewal. Now, you don't have to get a broker license. If you don't want to get a broker license, maybe you don't want to open a brokerage, maybe you don't want to have the higher ranking title, whatever the reason may be, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this right at 2 years. You could stay a sales associate forever, and then basically you're just rinsing and repeating. You're just going back through again and again and again, 14 hours, 14 hours, 14 hours every 2 years after. But at some point that you decide you want to get your broker license, again, as long as you've got your 45 hours completed, as long as you've got your 2 years of experience in the last 5 years, you could then do your application for your broker license. That'll require the 72-hour broker pre-licensing course. Then the first renewal for that is going to include the 60 hours. And this is typically done with 2 separate courses. We have a management course that teaches about managing a brokerage. So just like in 45 hours over here, your post-licensing for sales associate, the post-licensing for broker is also valuable information for this new license that you have. You get back to laws and rules in this one. Just like your 63-hour, it covers all those same laws and rules and then some. It goes a lot deeper into a lot of the same topics that you find in your sales associate course, which is yet another reason why you might want to do this close to that 2-year mark so you don't forget too much of the 63-hour material here, because you're going to be tested on it all over again. And in case you're an out-of-state candidate, you've already got the 2 years and you're going straight to the broker license. Again, if you've got questions on this, because I know I'm giving you a lot of information right now, but that's because there are a lot of different possibilities. So if you want to zero in on your situation, you have questions about that, reach out to our advisors, 813-333-2676. We could really simplify this down based on what your license specifically is and really what you're also trying to do. We could cut out a lot of this extra information here. We hold all this information in so you don't always have to, unless it's taking the exam. That's where you've got to try to match our knowledge to a certain degree. But once you get your 60 hours done for post-licensing, again, one course is management. The other one is actually on investment, finance and investment. So it covers a lot deeper into investment analysis and understanding really the money side. So if you're working with investors, any sort of commercial real estate type of deals and whatnot, it's a lot more data that's in that. So even if you don't want to get a broker license or really have the office, you could stay with your current broker as a broker associate and just have a higher ranking title. So you could do that at any real estate office. You could be as a broker associate instead of a sales associate. And brokers like that because as a broker associate, they know that you have a higher degree of knowledge and understanding compared to the average everyday person. And on top of that, there's every statistic out there shows that brokers actually earn more, even just as a broker associate compared to a sales associate. And that's because the people that are taking the broker course, they're making that extra investment into their own knowledge, let alone if they decide to open up their own brokerage and really take things to the limit of what you could potentially do, which there is no limit, so you can imagine how far you could go. But once you eventually get on that journey, just like with your sales associate license, this 14-hour requirement, same exact as your sales. Every 2 years. So it's not a different course or anything. You just do to your 14 hours, then another 2 years goes by, you do another 14 hours. So you could stay on this route forever as a sales associate. You don't ever have to become a broker. And now with a lot of things you could do, starting a team, being at a 100% brokerage, there's less and less incentive to start your own brokerage. But you may want to have, again, that higher ranking title. You may want to have the higher competency. You maybe want to just be part of the statistics of people that earn more money. Just because, again, you holding this license, it gives you greater opportunities, greater possibilities, and especially when you're working with people that aren't just your average everyday homeowner. The average everyday homeowner, do they comprehend the difference of this? Maybe, but probably not. Whereas somebody who is a more savvy investor, someone in a commercial transaction, that might be more likely where you're going to find people that would know the difference because maybe they're doing multiple transactions and they've worked with sales associates and they've worked with brokers, and they know that brokers have higher education, training, certification compared to a sales associate. So again, it opens up greater opportunities, gives you more respect, more clout, and really then it just becomes a piece of paperwork you have to file with the state if you ever want to open your own brokerage, because you already hold the license to be able to do that. And so you could decide to do that at any point to upgrade, to convert from a broker associate, which would be when you stay with your current broker or developer. You could work under a developer as a broker associate as well. But typically, if you're getting to that level, you usually don't see broker associates at developers, just because a lot of times the developers end up being like starter jobs for a lot of people, and then they want to jump over onto the resale side, just because there is a lot higher earning potential when you're working in resale compared to working, say, with a developer. But that's what this process looks like. So let's go ahead and take a look at the DBPR website here. This is myfloridalicense.com. I know it doesn't sound like the most government website, but it actually is the official website for the Florida Department of Business Professional Regulation. So that's myfloridalicense.com. And this is actually a really easy to find page, especially when they do have important updates. It's actually right on the home page. It'll say emergency updates. And what we're looking at here is this one, which was issued on August 29th, 2023, DBPR Emergency Order 2023-06. And what that specifically does, it does a few different licenses, but specifically what we're interested in, since this is state of real estate, is the September 30th deadline, which was supposed to be September 30th of 2023. That was what we were just factoring out. So again, if you're licensed between, I think it was October 1st up to the March 30th of 2021 going into 2022, that's where this is your deadline. Again, you could always verify that, tsre.us/verify. That's going to show you exactly step-by-step how to verify your hours, make sure you're going to stay in compliance and good standing, because at the end of the day, the DBPR and the Florida Real Estate Commission says that is your responsibility and your responsibility solely. So, yes, we automatically report all your hours here, and not technically automatically. It's actually a manual process we have to do to send these hours to the DBPR, and it's electronic, so it happens basically instantaneously on our end, but then it takes time for their systems to sync and update, I guess, for it to tabulate the hours and whatnot. So it usually is maybe 48 to 72 hours typically between when we send our electronic submission to them to when it's going to show up on your actual account. Whatever that takes there for their system to think about it and link together. Not too sure, but it is not instantaneous. Think money actually transfers faster than the data to the DBPR. So why that is, I'm not too sure. But like a lot of things with the government, we don't have too much control over it. We just got to deal with it. But that's why you want to go in here and verify, because they also don't give us any way to verify. We get a confirmation basically maybe a minute, so almost instantaneously as soon as we send these results that your submission was successful. But even when we get those notifications, there can still be errors that occur on whatever's going on in the back end for those records to be linked. And so that's why it is very important for you to verify this. And this is the same place where we're showing you how to go here, where you have to pay your renewal fee anyway. So you're already going to log in here to pay your renewal fee. It's just a few different clicks that you're making to actually go in and verify your hours. So that's definitely going to help you out with that there. But you'll see that we've got October 25th of 2023. So what that means here is that you want to get this done by midnight on October 25th of 2023, if this was your original deadline of September 30th of 2023. So you've been granted an extension. I don't know who it is that's out there, if it's just a coincidence or if it really was fate making sure whoever it is that's out there that needs to be hearing this message right now that hasn't done their post-licensing. Maybe you don't think you're going to use your real estate license anymore. Keep it. Keep it. This is such a simple course to complete. There's no state exam. The only time you have a state exam is when you're getting a new license. So if you do want to get your license again, that guarantees another state exam. But as long as you do your post-licensing, which is a little bit more significant of a requirement compared to your continuing education, every 2 years after that, it's such a simple thing. We have a 30-question open book exam. It's a self-guided. We basically just send you a book, and then there's a 30-question open book exam. We do have an online program where you could click through, read all about a bunch of stuff, and those online programs are actually really in-depth. So if you're looking for more in-depth knowledge as it relates to continuing education, the text-based online programs have a lot of extra information there that you can go through and learn about, and just complete a couple little quizzes at the end and you get your credit. Those are the exams. They're like little 10-question exams for continuing education. And it's broken up into multiple courses, so you could just buy a package or you could bundle them together, or however it is that you want. But what I would recommend, if you're running up on this deadline and you're like, I'm not trying to learn anything right now, I just need to get this done, that correspondence course that we basically send you this book for, you could go through and review that book at your own pace, at your own leisure, but make sure you have an exam returned to us, ideally before this deadline here. As long as it's done before the deadline, we'll get it reported. But what happens if, let's say the deadline was tomorrow and you're just finishing your course today? Even when we're reporting that within like an hour, even if we get it reported today, like I said, it's a 72-hour window potentially. And as we get close to deadlines like this is where their servers get backed up even further, and it can sometimes take even longer than that. And especially when we get close to the deadline, because once it goes over the deadline and if those hours haven't synced yet, they could be in their system, but for whatever reason it takes a while and they haven't synced yet, your license ends up going null and void, and then it's actually a manual process for people at the DBPR to go through and clean up the account and relink the certificates and all that other stuff. And we do also provide you for your records a copy of your completion certificate, because that also helps if you could send that from your end. So in addition to us electronically reporting the hours, which is supposed to be the most accurate and efficient system, it usually is, but even though it's the most accurate and efficient, it's not 100%. Because we regularly see errors that we get no notification of, and the only way we find out is a student calling us or texting us or emailing us saying, hey, I just verified my hours and this course that I did a week ago still isn't showing up. And if it's been a week and it's still not on the account, that's way beyond the 48 to 72 hours. So what we need to do in that case, again, is resubmit those hours to make sure that gets linked to your account correctly. Then we give it another 48 to 72 hours, and again, maybe an extra day or so when we're running up right on the deadline here, just because those servers take a while to get updated. So if you have any questions about this, if you have a renewal deadline coming up, if you were like, oh my God, my license renewal is tomorrow, now you're watching this and you're saying, okay, good, thank God, I don't have to do it right away, start it. Start it today, so that way you don't find yourself in this situation come October 24th. You don't want to find yourself in the situation on October 24th saying, oh, that's right, I got to do this post-licensing course, or I got to do this 60 hours of broker post-licensing, or I've got to do my, even if it's just the 14-hour course, just get it done, get it out of the way. You've got yourself a couple extra weeks here now at this point to get this done, so take advantage of that gift essentially to you of this extension here, because this has happened a few times before, but typically they don't grant extensions. You could file for hardship. So like I said, if you do have some actual financial, physical, mental hardship, and you have documentation to support that, there is an application you could file with the DBPR to be able to qualify for a hardship. But if this is the boat that you're in, your renewal is supposed to be tomorrow, and now you've got until October 25th. You don't have to worry about filing the hardship. Just get it done. Just make sure it's done, and ideally have it done, completed, all the requirements, the exam, whatever affidavit you have to click on and say, I did this all by myself, blah, 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 blah. No state exam, but you just have little online exams for these typically, or in class if you're doing it in person here. So make sure that is completed before midnight there, and you're going to have met the requirement. The closer we get to that deadline, that new deadline of October 25th, the messier it gets for a smooth renewal. The earlier you could do it, the easier and almost guaranteed to be a smooth renewal, especially if you're staying on top of it and looking it up here. Because let's say you're looking it up now, you did the course, let's say you just finished this week. It hasn't been the 48 hours, 72 hours, maybe you just finished today. You just finished your class today. Like I said, we'll get that submitted today, but you might not see that on the DBPR for a couple more days now. Especially when we get close to the weekends. I don't know why we get more completions in. Thursday and Fridays are big completion days for us. We get a lot of extra completions those days. So get this done. Get it out of the way. You have any questions, maybe you're already enrolled in a course and you need to transfer over to a different format to expedite this a little bit more. Maybe there's something that's a better fit for you. Reach out to our advisors, 813-333-2676. I greatly appreciate you all tuning in with us today to learn more about this renewal requirement, to learn about post-licensing, continuing education, the broker post-licensing, and really the whole roadmap of renewals. This stuff is actually really simple to complete. The most difficult thing it is that you're going to do is initially getting your license. That first course, because it's all so new typically, even if you've been in real estate before, you're getting back down to basics, so that makes it difficult as well. But getting through that initial hurdle of getting your license is the hardest one to do, even if you're doing it again. And that's the reason why you don't want to let your license lapse. You could always use it for your own benefit to earn your own commission. So you could take your license as long as it's active and represent yourself in a buy deal, and you've already got a pre-negotiated commission now that's going to come to you that you could apply as a credit towards your closing, towards your down payment, towards your closing costs, towards whatever. Just take a check for yourself. You could do that when you're investing in real estate. You could do that when you go to sell properties. You can now have basically the best for sale by owner experience ever because you have a real estate license. You could refer any opportunities you come across. A simple referral form, a one-page referral form, and you could earn 20, 25, 30, 50%, whatever you negotiate of any deal. So you've got a friend that wants to buy a $10 million apartment complex. Maybe you have no idea what you're doing, but you could refer it to somebody who knows what they're doing, or maybe it's in another state or another country. There's so much opportunity, but to be able to do this, to be able to earn that referral fee legally, you have to have an active real estate license, and there's specific brokers out there specifically for referrals only, where you don't have to join the Association of Realtors, pay for MLS fees, and so on and so forth. So that's a really low-key, low-maintenance way, and what I'd recommend for anybody to keep their license essentially on ice, where you don't want it to go bad. You want to still be able to use it. If you want to keep it on ice, you want to maybe earn your time for the 2 years to be able to get your broker license, you could join a referral broker. And these usually just pay like a one-time annual fee or something like that, maybe $100, $150. These are usually not very expensive because you're not practicing real estate. You're just referring deals. And there's usually some sort of commission split where that referral brokerage gets a little piece, maybe 15, 20% of that referral fee. But you're still potentially getting thousands of dollars, maybe tens of thousands of dollars, depending on how big that deal is or how big your percentage of the referral fee is. They could be buying new construction. They could be buying in another state, another country. The referral fees are so powerful. And don't lose your license over these silly little renewal courses. Yeah, the 45 hours is not as easy as the 14. But once you get out of that 45 hours, all you got left forever is 14, as long as you don't miss those deadlines. Do those deadlines on time, and you never have to worry about losing your license. Because the 14-hour course, it's so simple. It's so simple with that correspondence. 30-question open book exam. You go through the book at your own pace. You flip through it, read through it, find the answers that you need, fill out your 30-question open exam. We have it where you do the exam right online, so that comes to us instantly. We get you submitted off to the DBPR, and now all you got to do is pay your renewal fee, which is like maybe $50. But I believe there is some sort of incentive now. I think I saw one that was like $30 or something like that. They're always running these, like, I don't want to call them promotions because that's not what the government is doing here. But they create some sort of order to reduce hardship on businesses or whatever it may be, and they reduced your renewal fee maybe by like $20 or something like that. So it's so simple to renew that, and don't think that you have to be a part of the realtors and paying all the big money for a big name brokerage and all these extra tools if you're not even using them. Either keep your license inactive, but I wouldn't do that because it's like in a deep freeze then. You want it on ice, go activate with a referral brokerage. Join with a referral brokerage, and you come across some sort of deal, whether it's for yourself or somebody you know. Doesn't even have to be a friend or family member. You just got to get a form signed, and now you're entitled to a referral fee. So that's really exciting stuff. If you're actually interested in a course specifically on doing referrals and referral fees and whatnot, let us know, because we're putting together some courses. We've got a really great one on understanding the FAR bar as is contract, but we're really trying to build out a catalog of real-world information to help you monetize your real estate license. So let us know with any information it is that you're seeking in 813-333-2676. Thanks again for tuning in to State of Real Estate. We'll be back next Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern time, to cover more information to help you maximize your real estate license. Until then, have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you next Friday. So you just got your real estate license. How can you jumpstart your real estate business? The number one thing you should do before you do anything else is post-licensing. Now look, this is already a requirement, so you're gonna have to do it anyways, but here's why you wanna do it early. The sooner you do post-licensing, the sooner you're gonna learn the real-world concepts in post-licensing that will help you create a business plan, that'll help you plan for your success in real estate. Post-licensing is all about real-world topics that are usable, that'll help you grow your real estate business. And at Tampa School of Real Estate, we have the best post-licensing courses around. Find out more about how post-licensing can help you jumpstart your real estate career. Go to postflorida.com. Are you studying for your Florida real estate exam? If you are, you need to check out our Pass First Try strategy. You're gonna love this. It's 4 steps that we break down the process to study for your Florida real estate exam. So you're set up to pass your Florida real estate exam because that's what you're studying for, right? To pass your exam. It's 4 steps. Number 1, you learn the information. You've got to learn this to be able to pass the exam, but it doesn't stop at learning. Step 2, you've got to reinforce the basic, simple, key concepts. As you learn this information, keep reviewing the simple things. You don't need to know everything, but you got to review these basic key concepts. Step 3, you've got to test your knowledge. The exam's going to test your knowledge, so if you don't test your knowledge in advance, you won't find out if you know what you think you know until you take the exam. And then step 4 is be confident and prepared, because even if you know this material, you need to be confident that you know the material. Check out the full strategy at passfirsttry.com. That's passfirsttry.com.
The most powerful tool to study for your real estate exam is the Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate. We've used our years of experience in preparing students for the Florida real estate exam to bring you the most powerful exam study tool available. In the Question Simulator, you'll be able to go directly to a particular unit so you can focus on the sections where you need the most practice. We have also included the percentages of each unit so you know which units are the most important for your real estate exam. Every question will immediately give you detailed feedback, which is almost always more important than the question or the answer themselves. After completing all the questions in a particular unit, you can go through question by question and review any that you've gotten wrong. You could also print out a report at the end of each quiz. The Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate is 100% mobile compatible, so you can practice with test questions anywhere you have your phone with you. Enroll now at questionsimulator.com and get ready to pass your exam.
Have you seen what's going on in Tampa?
If you're looking to get in on the real estate action that's going on in Tampa right now, we're who you need to talk to. We can help you get your real estate license, start your real estate career. We're here to assist you for the life of your real estate career. Give us a call. Phone number is 813-928-0106, or check us out online at tampaschool.com. Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate.